Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, has been remembered for centuries as one of history's most captivating figures. Often portrayed as a seductive queen who bewitched two of Rome's greatest men, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, Cleopatra's real story is far more complex. She was not just a figure of romance but a brilliant politician, a cunning strategist, and a ruler determined to protect her kingdom in an era of unprecedented political turmoil. Born into a family plagued by internal strife and a kingdom threatened by Rome's growing dominance, Cleopatra faced immense challenges from the moment she ascended to the throne. Yet through her intelligence and resilience, she managed to maintain Egypt's sovereignty for decades. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony weren't merely acts of passion, they were calculated moves to secure Egypt's survival in the shadow of Rome. But Cleopatra's life was also marked by betrayal and tragedy. Despite her remarkable efforts, her ambitions clashed with the relentless power of Octavian, the man who would become Rome's first emperor. Today, Cleopatra is remembered not only for her political brilliance, but also the myths and propaganda that have shaped her legacy. Who was the real Cleopatra? How did she navigate a world dominated by men to become one of history's most enduring figures? This is the story of Cleopatra, her politics, her power, and her ultimate betrayal. Cleopatra VII was born in 69 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a family of Macedonian Greek origin that had ruled Egypt since the time of Alexander the Great. The Ptolemaic court was notorious for its intrigue, betrayal, and infighting, and Cleopatra's early years were shaped by this volatile environment. As a child, Cleopatra received an exceptional education in the vibrant city of Alexandria, one of the ancient world's intellectual hubs. She studied languages, politics, science, and philosophy, becoming fluent in at least 9 languages including Egyptian, a rarity among her Greek-speaking family. This ability to communicate with her diverse subjects would later prove to be one of her greatest strengths as a ruler. Cleopatra ascended to the throne in 51 BCE at the age of 18 following the death of her father, Ptolemy XII. As was customary in the Ptolemaic dynasty, she was co-ruler with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, who was just 10 years old. However, their partnership quickly devolved into a bitter power struggle fueled by advisors and court factions vying for control. In 48 BCE, Cleopatra was forced to flee Alexandria after being overthrown by Ptolemy XIII's supporters. Exiled but not undeterred, she began to plot her return to power. When Julius Caesar arrived in Egypt later that year during his pursuit of Pompeii, Cleopatra saw her chance. Using her wit and resourcefulness, Cleopatra famously smuggled herself into Caesar's quarters, rolled into a carpet to avoid detection. This dramatic encounter marked the beginning of a powerful alliance. With Caesar's military support, Cleopatra defeated her brother's forces, securing her position as queen and establishing herself as one of the most formidable rulers in the ancient world. Cleopatra's alliance with Julius Caesar marked a turning point in her reign and in the history of Egypt. Far from a simple romantic relationship, their partnership was a calculated move by Cleopatra to secure her position as queen and strengthen Egypt's independence in the face of Roman expansion. When Cleopatra sought Caesar's support in 48 BCE, she faced enormous challenges. Her brother and co-ruler Ptolemy XIII had expelled her from Alexandria and Egypt was in chaos. Caesar, who had arrived in Egypt in pursuit of his rival Pompey, was embroiled in his own struggles, with the Roman Republic teetering on the edge of collapse. Cleopatra saw an opportunity to align herself with one of Rome's most powerful figures, and her dramatic entrance, smuggled into Caesar's quarters rolled in a carpet, was both a gamble and a masterstroke. Cleopatra's intelligence and charm quickly won Caesar over. Their partnership was not merely personal but profoundly political. With Caesar's military backing, Cleopatra launched a campaign to reclaim her throne. The Alexandrian War that followed was fierce, with Caesar's forces battling those of Ptolemy XIII. Ultimately, Cleopatra and Caesar emerged victorious. Ptolemy XIII drowned in the Nile during the fighting, and Cleopatra was reinstated as queen alongside another younger brother, Ptolemy XIV. Cleopatra's return to power was more than a restoration of her throne. It was a consolidation of her authority. By aligning herself with Caesar, she secured Rome's protection and eliminated the immediate threats to her rule. Cleopatra and Caesar's union also produced a son, Caesarion, who Cleopatra presented as the legitimate heir to both Egypt and Rome. While this claim was never recognized by Rome, it demonstrated Cleopatra's long-term vision for a unified and powerful dynasty. During Caesar's time in Egypt, Cleopatra dazzled him with the grandeur of Alexandria and wealth of her kingdom. She hosted lavish banquets and showcased Egypt's cultural and scientific achievements, reinforcing her image as a sophisticated and capable ruler. This was not mere indulgence. It was a calculated effort to ensure that Caesar viewed her as an equal rather than a subordinate. In 46 BCE, Cleopatra traveled to Rome with Caesar, a bold move that demonstrated her confidence in their alliance. Her presence in the city caused a sensation, with many Romans both fascinated and scandalized by her exotic origins and her relationship with Caesar. Cleopatra's influence extended beyond politics. She became a symbol of luxury and sophistication, admired and envied in equal measure. However, Cleopatra's fortunes shifted dramatically with Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE. His death plunged Rome into chaos, leaving Cleopatra in a precarious situation. Her alliance with Caesar had brought her power and stability, but it also tied her to his fate. With Caesar gone, Cleopatra had to navigate a dangerous political landscape filled with new rivals and uncertain alliances. Cleopatra's partnership with Caesar was a testament to her political acumen. She used the alliance to secure Egypt's sovereignty, eliminate her rivals, and position herself as one of the most influential figures of her time. It was a bold and calculated move that showcased her brilliance as both a leader and a survivor. Cleopatra's alliance with Mark Antony is often romanticized as one of history's greatest love stories, but at its core, it was a calculated political partnership. After Julius Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Cleopatra faced a new political reality. The Roman Republic had fractured into a power struggle between three key figures: Octavian, the heir to Caesar, Mark Antony, Caesar's trusted general, and Lepidus, a lesser-known but influential player. Cleopatra needed a new ally to secure Egypt's sovereignty, and Mark Antony was the ideal candidate. Their relationship began in 41 BCE when Antony summoned Cleopatra to the city of Tarsus to explain her loyalty in the wake of Caesar's death. Cleopatra, ever the strategist, understood the importance of this meeting. She arrived on a lavishly decorated golden barge, her presentation as the embodiment of the goddess Isis dazzling Antony and reinforcing her power and wealth. This theatrical display immediately captured Antony's attention, setting the stage for their partnership. Antony, who was consolidating his control over Rome's eastern territories, found in Cleopatra an invaluable ally. She provided financial and military resources that bolstered his campaigns, while he offered her protection from Rome's growing influence. Their relationship quickly became both personal and political, with Cleopatra bearing Antony 3 children, further cementing their alliance. One of the most significant acts was the donations of Alexandria in 34 BCE. In this grand ceremony, Antony publicly declared Cleopatra and their children rulers of vast territories, including parts of the Roman Empire's eastern provinces. Cleopatra was named Queen of Kings, and Caesarion, her son with Julius Caesar, was presented as the rightful heir to both Egypt and Rome. While this move solidified their power in the east, it enraged Octavian and many in Rome, who saw it as a betrayal of Roman interests. Antony and Cleopatra's alliance was not without challenges. Octavian, Antony's political rival, launched a propaganda campaign portraying Cleopatra as a manipulative seductress who had bewitched Antony and driven him to betray Rome. Antony, once a celebrated Roman general, was painted as a man who had abandoned his Roman identity for the luxuries of Egypt. The tensions between Octavian and Antony ultimately led to the outbreak of war. Cleopatra supported Antony in his military campaigns, providing fleets and resources to counter Octavian's forces. However, their combined efforts faced setbacks and their position grew increasingly precarious. Despite the external pressures, Cleopatra remained a steadfast partner to Antony. She offered him not only material support but also strategic insight, helping him navigate the complexities of their alliance against Rome. Together, they ruled as a united front, determined to maintain their power in the face of Octavian's growing threat. Their partnership was a testament to Cleopatra's ability to align herself with powerful figures and adapt to shifting political landscapes. It was not merely a story of romance, but a calculated effort to protect Egypt's sovereignty and secure her legacy as a ruler. Cleopatra's alliance with Mark Antony reached its breaking point as the power struggle with Octavian escalated. Octavian, the heir to Julius Caesar, had spent years consolidating his power and carefully crafting a narrative that painted Antony as a traitor to Rome, manipulated by Cleopatra. This propaganda campaign turned much of Roman public opinion against them, setting the stage for an eventual downfall. The tension culminated in 31 BCE at the Battle of Actium, a massive naval confrontation off the western coast of Greece. Antony and Cleopatra commanded a combined fleet, hoping to deliver a decisive blow to Octavian's forces. However, their strategy faltered under the pressure of Octavian's superior military tactics and internal dissension within their own ranks. During the battle, Cleopatra made a critical decision to retreat her fleet, possibly believing the battle was lost or seeking to preserve her resources. Antony, seeing her withdrawal, followed, abandoning the fight. This moment sealed their defeat, as the remaining forces were overwhelmed by Octavian's fleet. After Actium, Antony and Cleopatra fled to Egypt, where they attempted to regroup and prepare for a final stand. Cleopatra's resourcefulness remained evident as she sought to negotiate with Octavian, offering treasure and even herself in a desperate bid to preserve Egypt's independence. However, Octavian, intent on eliminating all rivals, rejected her overtures. Antony, realizing the hopelessness of their situation, fell into despair. Believing Cleopatra had betrayed him or taken her own life, he attempted suicide, gravely wounding himself. When he learned she was still alive, he was brought to her and died in her arms, a tragic end to their partnership. Cleopatra, left to face Octavian alone, made one final act of defiance. Refusing to be paraded as a captive in Rome, she chose to end her own life, reportedly by allowing a venomous snake, an asp, to bite her. Her death was symbolic, a final assertion of her legacy in a world dominated by Rome. With Cleopatra's death in 30 BCE, Egypt fell under Roman control, marking the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the last vestige of Alexander the Great's empire. Octavian, now the unchallenged ruler of Rome, celebrated his triumph, using Cleopatra's death as a symbol of Roman superiority over the East. Cleopatra's downfall was the result of an unrelenting clash with Rome's most ambitious leaders. Yet even in defeat, she demonstrated resilience, intelligence, and an unyielding commitment to her kingdom. Her story remains a testament to the complexities of power and the lengths to which a ruler will go to protect their legacy.